Live from the KUDZUKIAN studios in Memphis, Tennessee, this is Artivism with your host, Linda Steele.
Welcome back to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and I'm your host, Linda Steele. As promised in Season 2, we're going to take it up a notch and talk to some innovators and thought leaders from around the country. In this episode, I'm talking to celebrity tailor RichFresh, based in Los Angeles. We'll be talking about his extraordinary journey from Memphis to San Diego to New York City and Los Angeles. And we'll cover his story, and you'll hear the ups and the downs of being a creative entrepreneur. Make sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, or your favorite podcast provider. This is your host, Linda Steele, and you are listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Best in Blue.
Former police director of the Memphis City Police Department. And how are you, sir?
I'm glad to be here. Crime is as much a societal issue as it is a criminal justice issue.
On the KUDZUKIAN Network. Best in Blue.
Well, GREAT is an acronym. It stands for Gang Resistance Education and Training. We'll teach them how to be good communicators. We'll talk about bullying, things like that.
On the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and I'm your host, Linda Steele. And as promised, for this second season, we are interviewing some really great people. We have national people. Today, my guest is celebrity tailor RichFresh. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to see you here. So happy to have you here in the studio today. So can you tell our audience a little bit about who RichFresh is? I know a lot of people know who you are, but I love your story. Can you tell us the RichFresh story?
The RichFresh story? The RichFresh story. Well, the RichFresh story starts in Little Rock. It starts in Little Rock in 93. In 93, I was in Little Rock. I was going to middle school at Horace Mann. Mm-hmm. And a very shy, nerdy, poorly dressed kid who had a massive attraction to all the pretty girls, and they did not reciprocate. And I was tutoring one of, said pretty girls, and she was super cool with me. She actually lives here in the city now. Tamara Harden.
She lives in Memphis.
Yeah, she lives in Memphis. Yeah, my man Earl Harden, Earl's wife, and Earl is he's on the U of M Tiger staff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, real solid people. But I used to tutor her, and we would just vibe and we would just talk about different things. And one of the questions that I would always position is like, what is it that popular girls are into? Because they ain't into me, and I'm trying to figure out how to switch that. And since you're one of them, just from a friend perspective, put me up on game. Like, what is it, what does it take to not be looked over consistently? And, the I guess to sum that whole conversation up, we went through all these different things that, makes a guy appealing to women, and it was a bunch of shit I couldn't do. Be athletic, that ain't gonna work. Be a badass, that also ain't gonna work. But the last thing was, you dress so bad. Like, if you dress better, you would probably be okay. You know what I'm saying? And so I just figured I can figure out how to control that one. So 13, I just threw myself into anything pertaining to fashion. I just want to learn as much about it as possible, because I felt if this is the key, then I should be able to master this. If I can master this key, then I can live the life that I kind of see for myself. And so reading just everything I could get my hands on, my mind kind of told me that you need to learn how to sew. You need to be able to sew and control where fashion goes for you. So I found a sewing machine in our laundry closet, and I literally just snuck it into my room. And for 5 years, real covertly, I taught myself how to sew without anyone around me knowing. Like I didn't want, again, it's the 90s, so it wasn't a real cool thing for a dude to be sewing. Mm-hmm. And I knew that if anyone found out, that would be a short-lived experience for me. So I just kept it a secret, and I just, I got good at it. And by the time I moved to Memphis, 15, I understood the concept of rebranding and how to, you go into a new environment where you're not known. You can create your story. What's your story? Who is this character? Like, these are characters that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And so I just created a character of this confident, attractive guy, And so when I got here, I just became that. The clothes matched it, my personal grooming matched it, the way I walk matched it. I took ballet for 2 years because I didn't like the way I walked beforehand. And I was like, you can't have a clumsy walk. You need to be more graceful. So I did all these small steps to get to become the vision that I had seen of myself. I knew it was going to take all these little steps, and so I just took these steps. So by the time I got here, I'm 15, and I'm now one of the best dressed kids in my school. And the thing that I wanted, all the girls paying attention to me, that happened. Being popular and cool with all the guys, that happened. And so it's like, damn, man, it's actually the thing that you thought was going to happen happened exactly the way you saw it. So by the time I finished high school, I had all these scholarship offers coming in, Rhodes, Stanford, Clark, Morehouse, Howard, it was wild. And none of that was real to me anymore. The only thing that was real to me at that point was fashion, because I had seen the transformative qualities of it. And I was just like, no, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And so, it was not the popular decision. I didn't go to any of those schools. I didn't accept any of the scholarships. I went to U of M for a year to study architecture and just dropped out because, again, I didn't want to be an architect. I want to be a designer. I wanted to create clothes. I wanted to create people's images. And I knew what I did for myself, I could find a way to monetize my ability to do that for other people. And so I just stuck to my guns. And after I dropped out of U of M, it's like, yo, you got to get a hustle, bro. You can't be out here working these dead-end jobs. You got to get your hustle up. And all you know how to do really is sew. So I guess you're going to be a tailor. Fashion isn't really very prominent in Memphis, but there's always a need for tailoring. Everyone got clothes. And a lot of times the clothes don't fit. Mm-hmm. And you know how to make them fit. So, I created that persona, and I started a business, and then I opened a shop when I was really young. And, I developed that skill set. And at a certain point, I just felt like I needed more. I needed to go further. I needed to spread my wings. So I moved to New York to tailor for some big brands and really, hone my skills. And after the market crashed, I moved back to Memphis for a second, started playing around with bag design and just getting, more into creating things instead of just altering things. And a year later, I moved to the West Coast. I just was like, you know what? I love Memphis, but I need more. My daughter needs more. And I just knew there'd be more. I was confident there'd be more opportunity on the West Coast. I was broke. I had $500 and a child. So I had $500 and a 4-year-old. And we hopped in the car and we moved to the West Coast, just on faith. And then, moved to LA. When I moved to the West Coast, I hit San Diego at first. That's actually when I started getting into custom. Beforehand, I was only doing alterations and designing bags, but I wasn't doing suits. I wasn't doing any of that. And so I started doing custom for the first time in San Diego, which is not the market at all for suits because they only wear shorts and flip-flops. But once I felt confident in my ability and I knew that, I was beyond San Diego, I just went up the street. I just moved up the street to LA, started working in Beverly Hills for a minute. I did that for a year, and then I was working for Zegna, Ermenegildo Zegna, big Italian menswear brand. And things started going downhill. You know, I'm not good at being an employee. And things started going downhill because I'm a jerk. I'm an asshole. So I just, you know, if I see something that's not right, I'm not a respecter of person. I don't care who you are. You know, you can be my boss's boss's boss. If I think you're on some shit, I'm likely to tell you you're on some shit. And so I told someone he was on some shit, and I realized I had to leave soon after. And but you know, it was good. So I started the business up in LA. It was called RichFresh at first, and
I noticed that.
Mm-hmm. And after years,
why the change?
Because I had to change my whole business concept. Like, RichFresh was a good introduction, but I wasn't handling business properly. You know, I was still bringing a lot of the negative stigmas that I had developed in Memphis. You know, I was doing my thing in Memphis, but you know, my consistency wasn't on point. My business acumen wasn't on point. My word wasn't on point. So there's a lot of things that I saw in myself that did not lend itself to success. You cannot be successful and you hold on to bad habits. So I just had to kill that dude. I had to kill RichFresh.
Mm-hmm.
He had to go. And you know,
I'm hearing 2 rebrandings, and this is fascinating. Everyone, you're going to want to continue listening to this. I am talking to
Guaranteed.
RichFresh, and you're listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and I'm your host, Linda Steele.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
You're listening to Artivism. Artivism features conversations with artists, creatives, and citizens working at the intersection of art and social activism. And I'm Linda Steele, your host. I'm a grant maker, change maker, social venture capitalist, and I invest in individuals and projects that use the arts as a vehicle for social change.
Keeping it real, right, and funky.
Mauricio Calvo, who happens to be the executive director of Latino Memphis. Welcome to Funky Politics, sir. How are you?
Great. Thank you. You're having as much trouble saying my name as I do saying KUDZUKIAN, so we're even.
Hey, look, I'm good on that.
Yeah. Reasonable people understand that a country is more than its leader. I mean, I love my home country, but I think people in Memphis need to count their blessings.
Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Welcome back to Artivism, where we've been talking to RichFresh. I'm your host, Linda Steele, and you're listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network. Rich, we've been hearing about your fresh. We've been hearing about your story. And you were telling us about how you got into first San Diego and then moving into LA. And you were talking about the second rebranding, which I thought was really fascinating, from RichFresh to RichFresh.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, I'm very introspective. I'm very, you know, like I don't have a big homie, or I don't have anyone who can kind of hold me accountable, so I'm really good at holding myself accountable and being honest with myself. And I just saw things that I didn't like. I was like, you know, you got to change some things. And, you know, I dyed my hair blonde.
I like it.
Thank you. And I just, you know, I made some hard decisions. And one of them was to be unapologetic, to not make excuses, to not bullshit, and to set up like a local production so that I can control my business more. And you know, as these things start to change, I realized that I wasn't the same business anymore. Like, you're not the same entity. So why try and exist as the same entity? You're something different now. And I didn't want to just be limited to men. And I knew that, you know, what I have is also valuable to women. So I was like, you know what, let's kill that. Let's just be something different. So I rebranded, came back out with RichFresh. A whole different swag. Like, my whole vibe was different. I had no interest at that point in doing the run-of-the-mill business suits. I wanted to be an artist. And so it was a key change, and I'm grateful for the ability to recreate myself.
Tell us a little bit about the creative process. of Fresh and RichFresh?
I just see crazy stuff. Like, you know, being from Memphis, you know, you see colors everywhere. You know, my shop was on South Main, and so there's all this color and art. And so I've always had a passion to be artful in what I do. And then I found myself just making suits. It was garbage. It was like, man, this sucks. You know, hey man, can I get a black suit? Can I get a gray suit? No, you cannot. All these other colors in the spectrum. We want to do this. And so my creative process is just absorbing my surroundings and then regurgitating it into something that's wearable. You know, I'll see things and instantly, like, you know, I saw this fabric, for instance, you know, on these pants.
Beautiful.
And, something immediately spoke. I was like, yo, these are trousers, bro. Like, my brain will just say, these are trousers. This is a shirt. This is a jacket. This should be a robe. This should be this. And then I'll just be obedient, and I'll grab the stuff, and I'll see if I was right, and usually I'm right. So that's it, you know. And then just being a tailor, like, whatever my idea is, I know how to develop it perfectly. So it can be a stupid idea in a sense, but my belief is anything properly tailored, you can get away with it. So
now, you're a celebrity tailor. When celebrities come to you, what do they say? Do they have an idea in mind or a color in mind, or are you really leading that process?
A lot of times I'll lead the process, but a lot of times they have stylists as well, and the stylists are very keen on what their client's image needs to be. So, you know, me and the stylist will just connect, and we'll collaborate and just come up with crazy ideas. Half the time the client has no idea what they're about to see until it shows up. But when I am dealing with a client on one-on-one, we just vibe. We'll just talk for 15, 20 minutes. I usually don't do any sketching. I usually don't even like present fabrics. I'll just listen and, you know, hear for these cues, and then I'll go back into my world and I'll do what I do. And then when I show up, you know, I found a way to kind of, you know, articulate their vibe in something, and it fits, you know, and I'm cool. So
you are cool.
Like, they usually just take it like, oh, this is good. This is great.
We're talking to RichFresh, and we're talking about his creative process. Where else can you hear a celebrity tailor talk about his creative process except
only on
Artivism?
That's it. That's the only place I know of.
Brought to you by the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm Linda Steele, talking to Fresh, the celebrity tailor. Tell us more. We have some fantastic items on the table. We have some fabric. I'm really eyeing this leather bag that you have, and you said that's your first bag?
Yeah, that's the first that's the first leather bag I ever made. I was staying at the Gilmore Apartments in Memphis. And, you know, when I moved back from New York, I just wanted to create something.
What made you, something just said, I want to create a bag?
Well, you know, funny thing.
How'd you do that?
When I first came back, the first thing I made was a jacket. And I spent like a week working on this jacket, right? And it was so dope. And I remember one of my guys came by the crib and saw the jacket and said, yo, I got to have this. And I was like, great, because I'm broke and I need to sell it. And he slipped it on and it didn't fit. And he was like, damn, can you make this again to fit? And I was like, no. You got to do something different, bro. You can't be sitting around making shit that don't fit people. So I was like, why don't you make bags, bro? Like, bags is a one-size situation. It don't matter who you are. If you like it, you're going to take it. And so it was an immediate shift.
So that just occurred to you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I just immediately was like, well, you never made a bag before. So let's just look at some bags. And, like, my brain can my brain can look at something and see all the various steps, like A through Z. I don't skip steps. And so I was able to look at, like, what Louis was doing and break down their process. If I'm looking at this bag, what are all the pattern components? Okay, I see that. Okay, what's step 1? Okay, I see that. What's step 17? Okay, I see that. Cool, go.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, since I know how to sew, like, I just get the stuff and go do my own pattern, get it popping. This is a one take, you know, like, there's no redos and no nothing.
And how long did it take you?
This one probably took me, it probably took me a whole day, you know, like 12, 14 hours.
Just a whole day.
Oh yeah, just a whole day. But this is my baby. I made this joint like 11 years ago, and she has birthed a nation, I feel, because I've sold a whole lot of bags off this concept.
So you have a line of bags, can you tell us a little bit more about all the different
lines. So, you know, I got the bags. I haven't really done as much with them as of late because I've been having a lot of fun with the clothes. But the bags are about to show back up. So you've been warned. It's gonna be gross.
You heard it first here on Artivism.
Exactly. This is exclusive information. It's exclusive drops. The neoprene pants, which, you know, we got over here on the table. That was a brainchild of frustration. I was in Toronto visiting this chick, and she just got on my last nerve. The last one. She was tap dancing on it, and I'm at the airport, completely like turned off by this chick, and you know, she's yapping my ear off, trying to apologize. I ain't hear none of it. This woman walked past me in a color block sweater, and I remember seeing how vibrant the colors were, and something in me clicked and said, "Yo, you need something like this, bro. You need something that you can just play with the colors. Like, you shouldn't have to redesign a pattern concept per se. We should be able to have a perfect pattern and just change the colors on it. You got to find your thing." And I got back to LA and I immediately got at it. And I recognized that the neoprene was colorful, that it was comfortable.
And you got all of this from you got a spark from seeing someone.
That's what I'm saying.
Airport.
Like my creative thing, I can see a pet. You know, I've literally seen like Weimaraners, however you pronounce it, I probably just messed that all up. But I've seen those dogs, and like, there's something about the tone, and I'd create something based off the tone. So yeah, I was just sitting there, saw her for a split second, and I remember saying out loud, "Oh damn, she just changed the game." And the girl I was sitting next to was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Nothing. I wasn't talking to you. Be quiet." No, I didn't say it to her. But I just remember saying, "That just changed the game. I'm finna go back to town. I'm finna tear it up."
Wow. You've been hearing about the creative process again from Fresh, the celebrity tailor. This is Linda Steele on Artivism, your host of the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Best in Blue.
That means we go to the schools, we go to the churches, we do all types of programs to try to build the relationship between law enforcement and the community.
Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
KUDZUKIAN!
Artivism.
Artivism. Artivism. Artivism. Artivism.
Welcome back to Artivism, where I've been having a fascinating conversation with Fresh, the celebrity tailor. And you're listening to Artivism, and I'm your host, Linda Steele, on the KUDZUKIAN Network. And Fresh, I just want to go back to something you mentioned, which is something I'm very fond of, which is taking ballet.
Right.
You took ballet. And then after we've been talking about the pants and the fabric, the neoprene and everything, I started thinking, was there a connection between your ballet training and what you needed out of the pants in terms of movement? So I'd love to hear more about that connection.
I think subconsciously there was. I definitely didn't approach the pants and say, well, because in ballet,
right?
But I don't like things that are stiff, I like to be able to move. I used to do a lot of flips. So, I like things that you can stretch in. And I like jeans. I don't really like wearing jeans too much because I don't like not being able to move. I don't like tearing things. I hate tearing clothes. It's just the saddest thing in the world when you move a certain way and your clothes rip. So I've enjoyed adding the element of neoprene because neoprene stretch has got 4-way stretch. So these pants will otherwise be very rigid, but
wow,
these pants can literally expand another 3 inches and go right back to its original form. So I don't know if ballet was the reason I did it, but maybe, I don't know.
And how'd you know about that particular fabric?
Neoprene?
Yeah.
So I had worked with The Weeknd on his ensemble for the Met Gala in 2017, and Valentino, the brand, a huge brand, Valentino had made him a neoprene tuxedo. It fit like garbage. It was terrible. So I had to completely remake it. But I thought, like, who would have thunk Who'd have thought to use neoprene for a tux? It's terrible because it's just not tailored properly. But once I finished tailoring it, it was like, there was the talk of the Met. Everyone was talking about that tux.
Wow.
Everything about the Star Boys outfit is what you want in a tux. Like, that was the caption that GQ came with. So I recognized the power of neoprene. I just didn't realize how many colors were available. I never thought that I would use it in my brand as heavily as I do, but I'm glad I do. It's been a huge game changer.
Would you call it like your thing now?
Yes, it is. And if I see anyone else doing it, that's a smackdown on site. On site.
What about flattery? What do they say about imitation?
Yeah, I ain't with that.
I didn't think so.
I actually am. Like, I've noticed a lot of, literally, I had a guy go in my DM and tell me how much I inspire him. And so I decided, oh, cool, man. Look, I really appreciate that. This joker had literally copied my whole shit. He had like 3 pair of pants. I was livid. But it wasn't a neoprene. It was some other, probably polyester, but the stripes, the pin tuck in the front, the waistband, the belt. I was like, yo, this is not cool. This ain't really happening. But it's been happening a lot more, and I just recognize what that is. You're a tastemaker. And when people need taste, they got to go where it's being made. And if you're the tastemaker, they're gonna bite you a little bit. It don't matter. It's a cheap imitation. Keep it pushing. If you want the real thing, you know where to come for it.
You know what? You're just bringing up another point, which I want to talk to Fresh, the businessman. Okay. The CEO, the entrepreneur.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I started hearing about intellectual property.
Right.
And, things that you've created. Talk to us a little bit about becoming a businessman, and you have your talent and skill and creativity. How you combine that with the business skills? What have you learned?
I've learned a lot. My dad was very entrepreneurial, so I didn't grow up wanting to be a designer per se. I always grew up wanting to be an entrepreneur. We would watch Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and they weren't profiling designers. They were profiling a guy that came up with a medicine, or a guy that started a construction or a waste business. It's like, these are regular people coming up with regular things that they've scaled to the masses, and they're making millions of dollars. So I always wanted to be that. I always wanted to come up with ideas, monetize them, keep it pushing. And so I apply a lot of that insight to fashion, and so I don't think I approach it as a fashion designer. Like, I didn't want to create this mass product that I gotta stock a lot of inventory. I did custom because economically it makes more sense. I don't spend the money until I've brought the money in. I know exactly what my margins are immediately. So, I don't have any debt. I don't have any inventory. I own 100% of what I do. And I knew I'd be able to increase the value of my brand, keeping it like this. I'm charging what Tom Ford charges. If I had a store, if I was doing it the other way, I couldn't do that because I'd be, I got to sell it. This is going on sale now because I got 10,000 of these and I need to sell them. But doing one at a time, I charge you what I want. These pants, I'd charge someone almost $2,000 for these pants. Because if you want them, you're going to get them. Exactly. And if you don't, I'm going to wear them, and you're just going to watch and be mad.
So this sounds like a business decision, too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, everything's business. I got a staff. I got a big staff. I got to pay everybody every week, so I got to make business decisions. Again, that's part of the whole killing rich freshmen and developing RichFresh.
Yes.
I had to go from being a hustler to a business.
Oh, this is fantastic, everyone. We are having a fascinating conversation, Fresh and I, the celebrity tailor, Fresh and I. You're listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and I'm your host, Linda Steele, and we've been having this fascinating conversation about business and art and creativity. And I just love what you just said. You were just talking about the business of it and how you have to pay people and
absolutely
I want to hear more about
you got deadlines. You got there's so many things. Like, I recognize what I do. I don't make clothes. Like, I manage people's images, and at this point I manage very rich people's images, and these aren't people who are accustomed to excuses or mediocrity. They want what they want, and they want it when they're supposed to have it. And it's just coming from that standpoint, I provide a service, and you got to spend money. My production cost is high, my fabric cost is high, my employee cost is high, but it puts me in a position where I can put that dollar, that value into the product. And since I'm able to deliver consistently, they'll pay what I charge, because they know they're going to get what they want. If I wasn't able to consistently deliver, then I'd have to change my price structure, because there's a chance you might not be satisfied. But I made it a point not to miss. Like, I have not apologized to someone in almost 2 years. I just removed the concept of apology. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to apologize. You're a business. You're not a person. People apologize. Businesses don't apologize. You get the shit done, or you give someone their money back. And if you get their money back, you've lost them. If you get it done, no matter what it costs. I've spent so much money. It's times where, again, I didn't have the money, and I'd produce something, and if there was an issue, it's like, what you gonna do? You gonna make an excuse? You gonna be like, man, well, I might have to remake it, but I don't have the money. Can you? Nah, eat it, get it done. You gotta create an impression, and it cannot be the impression that you're a person. You gotta be a business. People respect business. They don't respect people. And so, again, books I read a lot of books growing up on business. That's all I wanted to do. All I ever wanted to do was be rich and successful. So that's all I put in my head was like how to be rich and successful. And one is just not making excuses. It's just knowing who you want to be, knowing what you want to deliver, and sticking to that. Like, I joke with clients all the time when I give deadlines. It's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna see you on this date. Oh my God, are you sure? That's so soon. Let me put it to you this way. If I don't see you on this date, it's because I'm dead. I'm already out of here. Let's
talk about some of the celebrity clients that you have. We're going to take a break, but when we get back, we're going to talk about some real celebrities that you work with. You are listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Yeah, baby.
And I'm your host, Linda Steele, and I've been talking to the celebrity tailor, the businessman, the entrepreneur, Fresh.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Riffin' on jazz.
When two friends get together to kick it
about jazz, it's called Riffin' on Jazz.
Catch us riffing on jazz every week right here on your favorite broadcast or podcast platforms.
Riffin' on jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN!
Welcome back to Artivism, and I'm your host, Linda Steele, on the KUDZUKIAN Network. And I'm talking to Fresh, celebrity tailor and entrepreneur, businessman. We've been having a conversation about his work, and we were just about to start talking about some of his famous clients, so that the reason why he uses that term, celebrity tailor. Right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the clients you've been working with.
I have had the great fortune of working with some amazing people, and quite often it's people that I admire before I even meet them. I've worked with Maxwell. I do a lot of work with Maxwell. Do a lot of work with Kirk Franklin. Belly's one of my key clients. Belly and I linked up at a time where, it was rough for me, but he recognized this spark. He was like, yo, this kid is like, this dude can do anything. And he just rolled with me. He's very, very loyal, very good client, and we've just done some awesome pieces. That whole EXO squad, Belly, The Weeknd, just the upper management staff, Big Sal, all these ball players now. I'm not even a guy that watches sports, so half the time I don't know who they are. But I think that's a good thing, because I don't fan out. I don't know what they make.
So
I don't
how
know
do they see your work?
Instagram. Instagram is I should buy shares in Instagram because Instagram has been very, very pivotal for me. Like I'm an introvert. I don't really go out and do all that stuff. So Instagram is an opportunity for me to showcase and for me to be a pseudo extrovert. But they would just see the sauce. They would see, we call it sauce. We call it the drip. They would see the drip. and they would just inquire like, yo, bro, talk to me about the drip. I would get random phone calls. Like I did Joel Embiid and I did Deshaun Watson last year for the ESPYs. Had no clue who either of those human beings were. I never heard their names before. And everyone was like, you don't know who Joel Embiid is?
And they saw your work on Instagram.
Yep. Draymond Green, I did his entire, everything that he wore this past series where they blew out the Cavs.
And I'm from Cleveland.
Blew them out. It's like, but his stylist, he's in LA. We've known each other for a while, and he just saw like, yo, man, you're doing something extra. Man, let's work on some stuff for Dre. And then we started cooking, and it was magical. Anthony Anderson, again, his stylist reached out. I worked with her. Yeah, I worked with her with DeAndre Jordan. Her name's Courtney Mays. Shout out Courtney Mays. Shout out Vic Michelle. These are all celebrity stylists. So, part of my brand is connecting with the people that have the audience. I don't necessarily have the celebrities, but they got them. And they need what I have, because otherwise they got to go to the mall and put their clients in what everybody else is wearing.
Right.
So I recognize that. So, Anthony Anderson's another great client. Kenny Stills, he plays for the Dolphins, great client. I just recently picked up Araldis Chapman, pitcher for the Yankees, great client. In fact, I got some of his pieces back here. Sonny Weems, shout out Sonny Weems, West Memphis. Hometown hero, just started doing a lot of work with him.
And you did some work with Iman.
Oh my God, like the queen Iman. So I grew up seeing Iman.
Wow.
Like my dad worked for Revlon, so Iman and Cindy Crawford those are the key faces. So I always grew up seeing these powerful figures, and I always loved Iman. And I was a David Bowie fan, and so that's a funny one. I'm following her on Instagram. And one day I just happened to go to my DM, and there's a DM from Iman, and I'm like, whoa, maybe this is a mistake. Maybe she didn't mean this. I shouldn't even read it, but I'm going to. And she was like, yo, I happened to stumble across your stuff, and I really love what you do. I love to profile you. And then you know what?
Oh, cool.
I'm in LA. I'd like to meet with you, and I want you to make me some stuff too. I love suits. I want you to do what you do for me. And she came, and she was so gracious, and we just built out a whole lot of pieces, and I flew to New York to see her again and do the final fitting, and she was just elated. She loved it. I loved her. It was just a great experience. Kamaya, in fact, that's like my theme song. I've been broke all my life. Now I wonder, how does it feel to be rich? That's the theme song. So when y'all see my reality show, don't be surprised when you hear that song.
You heard it first.
You heard it
again
first.
on Artivism.
Exclusive drops.
This is Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and I'm your host, Linda Steele, and just enjoying this conversation that I'm having with Fresh, celebrity tailor, I think style architect.
Hey, I like that. I dig that.
He is a design thinker. Anybody who knows about design thinking, this guy did not learn it in class. It's just something.
Yeah, I ain't never
natural.
read a fashion book. I don't know what those look like.
So you're doing something that people literally take classes and pay for, and it just pops in your head. Tell us, we were talking a little bit over the break about how, the celebrity, being a celebrity tailor, it just didn't happen overnight. And there are some challenges and struggles that happen. And we want to make sure that the audience understands that. And can you talk a little bit more about the sacrifices and the struggle and challenges to get to this point?
I've always had an objective outlook. So even as a kid, I remember being that 13-year-old kid and seeing my future. I saw two different realities. I saw one, if I stay on the path most traveled. And I saw one, if I create another path. And, the path most traveled, like nice cushy job, you're a smart kid, someone's gonna pay you a lot of money to do something. And, white picket fence, the wife and all the kids and all that jazz. And it just seemed boring to me. I had seen that movie before. And then I also saw this rock star emerging and doing it his own way. And I just kind of was like, I want to do that. And so at 13, I was able to make this shift and say, I appreciate academia, but I don't want that to be my existence. I want to do something that's more creative. But even like being in LA, you know, you're in a city where people don't really wear suits. LA is not a suit city, but you know, you got a financial district, you got talent agents, so you have people who wear suits. And I remember everyone saying, that's your market. That's where you need to spend your time and energy. Go into all these office buildings and pass out cards and make all these boring ass business suits because you'll be able to pay your bills. And I was like, yeah, but my brain did that thing again where I could see these two split realities. And one was, you're this guy for this demo. The other was, you're in LA, bro. You're in LA. You're not in Memphis. You're not in Milwaukee. You're in LA where all the magic happens. This is Hollywood. All the stars are here. Why would you build your business to not handle the stars? Like, and I just knew, like, no, I want to do this for celebrities, bro. Like, I do this on another level. I want to do it for the people who have the resources. They appreciate it. And my brain was just so focused on that I no longer cared about appealing to the other market. So that's why, you know, I got products that you're not going to go to work wearing this unless you got your own thing. If you own your own, you wear what you want to wear. And I knew that's the audience that I wanted to deal with. And I made the sacrifice of not, you know, it was rough because it's difficult to find that audience. You got to craft a whole image so they view you a different way. And at that point, I hadn't crafted my brand to appeal to celebrities. So I had to spend a lot of time looking like a celebrity tailor, but being
Speaking
broke.
of looking, tell us a little bit about, I see the tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little, I know there's a story behind it. Tell us a little bit about that.
So my hand, you know, my dad hated tattoos. And I got my first hand tattoo right here.
When was that?
Maybe 2008. When I moved to the West Coast, you know, I didn't really get more. But my daughter, you know, I love my daughter. Like, she's
What's
the
her
most
name?
Ava. She's the most
Pretty
magical
name.
human being in the world to me. So I got her name and I got a heart around it. And I just realized, like, this is the hand that kind of symbolizes the things I love. Everyone sees this. You don't see, I'm covered in tattoos, but you don't see all the other ones. You're always going to see this. So I made sure that whatever's here has got to communicate a story. What do you care about? I'm passionate about my child. This is my father's signature. You know, he died 7 years ago. And I'm real passionate about, like, the lessons that he taught me and just making sure that I position myself to continue this legacy. And I got someone who's gonna hold me accountable. He's right here in my hand, so I can't be out here screwing up. You know, my mom's nickname is Trish.
Wow.
So I wanted to get this across my knuckles, you know, because I love my mama too. I'm fascinated with numerology. You know, 5 to me represents creativity. 6 represents more of a pragmatic, you know, business side. Like, I'm not trying to be popular. We got to get it done.
That's you.
I have a 7 on me that's more of spiritual enlightenment. You know, I've got create. Obviously, I don't think I need to explain that. Scissors. That needs no explanation. And then, you know, me and my daughter, we suffer from blank face. Like, we'll literally, like, just look. And we look so blank. And we'll be so excited. And be like, you're not excited? Oh, I'm super excited. Why do you look so blank? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean looking blank? And so I thought I'd get that for her. So yeah, this is my passion hand. So you know, I love everything.
What about the forearm a little bit?
You know, my daughter's name in Latin means bird. So I got a bird. I'm an Aquarius. So I got that right here. And then, you know, koi fish symbolize prosperity in, like, Japanese culture. I like flowers, so I got, you know, roses and whatnot. You know, I've got, you know, just phrases that mean something to me. You know, this going down my arm in Greek says fortune favors the brave.
Very cool.
You know, and I recognize that. You're not gonna, like I said earlier, like being, everyone wants to be rich, no one wants to work for it.
Right.
And I understand that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Like you have to be bold, you have to be willing to make these sacrifices and take these risks. You know, I've been in LA for 5 years. 9 months of those, I was legit homeless. Like, not like, hey man, you know, I was sleeping on my friend's couch. Like, nah, I was wondering where I'm gonna sleep at tonight.
Right.
You know, I'm like, man, I'm gonna either have enough money to get into this little shelter situation or eat tomorrow. So which one are we going to do? And I remember being in those spots and having those, and this is like, it ain't even that long ago. Shit, I found myself in a precarious situation just 6 months ago. I was homeless, just 6 months ago, from November of 2017 to February of this year. I was homeless.
And then still something happens. I mean, to me, that means you still have a vision, that something can happen.
Absolutely.
It didn't change your mindset.
No.
So it speaks to your tenacity.
Yeah, I'm not a person that's going to get caught up in where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Even the success, like I don't drink my own juice. I don't get caught up in it. And even being like down on your luck, you can stay down or you can get up. And I recognize that. I had a client that screwed me out of a lot of money. So the money that I had, I no longer had. So I find myself like, damn, now you're broke and this guy owes you $9,000. You need to get this money from this guy. And I was so focused on getting this money from this person who just screwed me out the money. He's not going to give it to you. And something clicked after like a week of that. It's like, yo, as long as you give this man power over your circumstance, you're a slave and you're dead.
Right.
You got to own this. He don't control your happiness. He don't control your comfort level. You're never going to see that 9 from him. So deal with it. You'll make that 9 back so fast it'll make your head spin. And I just had to change my mindset to not even wanting the money from him no more. I don't want your money, bro. I'll get this myself. I'll tighten my belt before I beg someone to help me or do something for me. I'm gonna figure it out. And so I've just always been like rebellious like that. And it just took visualizing and like being in a spot and looking around saying, man, you're not supposed to be here, bro. You're not supposed to be here. So let's get out of here. Let's get up and read a book. You ain't got no money, but let's create something. Let's still, no one knew. No one on Instagram knew I was messed up. I'm still like putting on nice clothes and, putting my pictures out there and everyone's thinking it's all good. And that's what it's supposed to be. This struggle was my struggle, but it was a beautiful struggle because I found my own power. Before I was powerless. And then I realized like how much power I wield, and that was life changing. I made a commitment to the universe to be something different in exchange for what I needed, and what I needed was to never worry about money again. It's like, why go through life worried about money when you create beautiful things, when you create art? You shouldn't have to do that. So I made an agreement, and people. I don't think people understand the power of the universe. You can literally tell the universe exactly what you want to the dollar amount. Like I remember being broke, having no money and saying, bro, you got to come up. Yo, I need $10,000 and I need it in the next 10 days. And I'm not even asking. I'm telling you, I expect it, I deserve it, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes for it. So let's make it happen. And then, I listen, and the universe will just tell me, cool, I know you want this, but what you willing to give up for it? What are you willing to do? And you just have to make these commitments. And if you stick to them, I looked up, and 10 days later, I was 10,000 up. It was like, okay.
The universe is telling me that not only are you going to do a reality show, but there's a book coming.
Oh, there's so much.
I mean,
there's a book, there's a school, Lord, we could.
I hear the book.
We could do this for hours. We could do this for hours. This is a movie.
And the movie.
For real.
Documentary.
And for real. It's major.
You're listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and I am talking to fresh celebrity tailor, style architect, and innovator. And we've just been talking about the ups and downs of creative entrepreneurship and business. You're listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network, and I'm your host, Linda Steele.
The off-year electorate, the midterm electorates, are older, less diverse, more conservative. You have two electorates fighting for the future of this country. And what I'd say to your viewers and people listening in is, you know what? You got to stop that older, less diverse electorate from funkying around with your future.
Funking up your airwaves and jamming the good information in your ear. Once again, it's Funky Politics.
Funky Politics.
KUDZUKIAN. Artivism.
Hi, welcome back to Artivism. I'm your host, Linda Steele, on the KUDZUKIAN Network, having this amazing conversation with Fresh, celebrity trainer. I'm saying trainer, I'm sorry.
I do train people. I train them on how to dress properly. Exactly.
You train, you coach. Also, philosopher, professor. I see all of that.
I dig all this. Man.
Creative.
I need some new business cards.
You do. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I have none. But
oh my!
We'll work on that.
But you do have the tape measure, which you is kind of your calling card.
Shout out Gerald Lewis. I'm gonna shout you out, big homie. My homeboy, I went to church with him. He would come by my shop, by my tailor shop. I was like 21. He would come by, and downtown, and he would just sit in there, and we would just talk, and he was like, yo, you know what you need to do, man? You need to wear your tape measure out in public. And I was like, man, shut up. That's stupid. I'm not doing that stupid shit. And he would just get on me all the time, like, yo, bro, you need to wear it. He's like, it's branding. It's so easy for people to immediately see what you do off a tape measure. And I didn't do it at all in Memphis. Like, I just didn't like the idea of it. It just didn't make sense to me. But when I moved to San Diego, I was like, man, you got to be able to communicate this thing quick.
So you didn't do it in Memphis?
Nah. I just wasn't, I didn't see the value of it until I went to a market where no one knew me and no one knew what I did. It's like, ooh, you got to communicate this quick because you don't have months to cultivate an audience. You have $500. That means, and it cost me $300 in gas to get here. So now I got $200. And you're going to run out of that real quick. So you need to be making money immediately. You got your sewing machine. You need to be able to flex and make some bread. So this tape measure came out. And as soon as I step out, hey, man, are you a tailor? Why, yes, I am. Oh, wow, man. You know what I'm saying? So it just created the conversation, which I could turn around and monetize that. Like, I knew how to capitalize on it. I'm going to take this comment, I'm going to turn it here. And next thing you know, you got to give me some money. So yeah, shout out to Gerald, man. I appreciate you, bro.
So you're back in Memphis.
I am.
And can you tell us a little bit about why you're back in Memphis?
Well, yeah, I can tell you the non-top secret parts. Okay. So I'm here, just seeing some clients. There's a big gala that's going on, so I'm here for that, and see some people. I've brought a lot of clothes that people have paid for, so I gotta see them and deliver it. And I got some people who've been waiting for me to come back because they want to put their orders in. So I'm gonna have a cool little pop-up situation while I'm here and just invite my people to come by and place orders, and also just look. I want people to come by and just touch and feel it and vibe with what I'm doing and just appreciate it from an artistic perspective.
So you once again heard it here first on Artivism.
Exclusive drops, man.
Fresh is just here for a bit in Memphis. And back out to LA.
He's back out of here.
Yeah. So what's next for Fresh? I know there's so many things you're doing.
World domination, my goal is very simple, I used to have very complex goals, you want to shop, you want to this. I want to be the most famous tailor on the planet Earth.
Ooh, I like that.
That's an easy goal. And I can monetize that. So it's like, I'm just going to focus on that goal. I'm going to be the most famous tailor ever lived. And from there, I can figure it out from there. I'm just gonna keep, making nice stuff, beautiful pieces, keep building up my celebrity audience. Eventually, you'll be able to walk into Barney's and Neiman Marcus and buy it yourself. I'm gonna keep doing what we do. At some point, I want to teach people. Like there's a generation of people who have been looking at not just what I do, but they look at what other tailors do and they want to do that. And the sad reality is this country does not support tailoring. Like you can't learn tailoring. There's no school. And so I want to create an environment where I can take people who just have the desire and teach them everything they need to know, about the physical skill of tailoring, and also setting people up with their own production so that they can feed themselves and take care of their family by helping other people look good. Just all over the country, all over the world. People should be able to do this, and I want to help usher that in. So that's one thing. TV. I'm working right now on just developing a reality show concept. It's just I got a videographer that follows me around in Los Angeles every day, just seeing what it is that I do, and I'd like for that to be seen on a much larger scale. So fame is the goal. Fame. Everyone's like, I don't want fame. I do. I do. Actually, not me, but Fresh does. I don't want fame. I'm a shy introvert, but that Fresh, that Joker is something else. He wants all the smoke.
You heard it here first on Artivism. All of these things to look forward to from Fresh, Celebrity Tailor. You're listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network. And I'm your host, Linda Steele, and don't you go anywhere. We're going to get right into that. Where can we find you? So someone sees you on Instagram, but where else can we find information about Fresh and what you do? Where can we find you on social media?
Facebook, you can find me a little bit, but I'm not under Fresh because Facebook won't let me change my name. So it still got me under Patrick Henry. But it's cool.
I love that name too.
Right. But Instagram is where you can really see like what I'm doing. Like I'm very, very transparent on Instagram. I got a lot of Instagram stories, so you can not only see the product, but you can gauge my personality. You can find out like I'm kind of a character.
I just followed you, but what is your handle on Instagram?
It is RichFresh _ RichFresh _ I've also got a website. I'm building it out right now. It's just very bare bones, but it's rich-fresh.com. Very soon I'm going to offer limited products that people can just order, but for the most part I want to maintain the custom aspect of my business. I like doing everything specific to the person. And I like doing one-offs. I'm never going to remake that jacket. It's not going to happen. People are going to want it. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to remake these pants. People are going to want it. It's never going to happen. I'll make something different, kind of based off this. But I like that one-of-one aspect,
Wow.
But I do understand in order to make like the 8-9 figures, I got to be bigger than that, So, I can definitely build, a multi-million-dollar brand doing custom, but I want a multi-billion-dollar brand, so I'm gonna have to scale it up a little bit. So I'll be offering some things online, and I'll be traveling, doing some pop-ups, and just reaching audiences outside of Los Angeles. I feel like LA is my key market right now, so I'm more focused on building my business and building the brand there. So everything is still custom. So what's next is just doing what I do more. But in time, people will be able to walk into a store, they'll be able to go online and, experience the product that way.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure our audience is as well. This has been just so fascinating for me, and I just feel very lucky to have had this time to talk to you and learn more about you and just hear about everything you do. So I'll be following you. I'll check you out on Facebook as well. Would love to have you back in Memphis to really be that trainer.
Absolutely.
And to train other creatives on how to think like you do, like a business person. And so I know we'll be seeing each other again, and we'll have you back in Memphis again. But until that point, I want to just thank you for your time. You've been listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm your host, Linda Steele, and I've been having this fantastic conversation with Fresh, the celebrity tailor. Fresh. And we'll be right back.
We're getting funky, y'all.
The Memphis Park with the Jefferson Davis statue was put up in 1964 during the Civil Rights Movement. These were all symbols of an oppression. These statues need to be in a historical context. They need to be in a museum, a Civil War memorial site, maybe even be at the ancestral home. All these things are valid places, but a public place of prominence was not where they needed to be.
It's Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Welcome back. I've been having a phenomenal conversation with celebrity tailor Fresh of RichFresh. And you are not going to want to miss a minute of this episode. So go back to the beginning and listen. And if you have to, listen twice, because he shares with us his story and so many pearls of wisdom. He schools us on developing a brand and tells us what he's up to next. And I'm not going to tell you what he's up to next, so you're going to have to listen. So make sure to check us out on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, or your favorite podcast provider. This is your host, Linda Steele, and you've been listening to Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network. You will find the Artivism podcast at the intersection of art and social activism. Artivism is executive produced by ArtUp, hosted by Linda Steele, produced, directed, and distributed by KUDZUKIAN.